There's a lie that we tell ourselves when things get messy. We'll say we're just busy, we'll organize it later, this is just temporary. But what if disorganization isn't neutral? What if it's quietly costing you something every single day? I used to think disorganization was just an inconvenience, a cluttered inbox, notes everywhere, folders named things like final underscore version two underscore real. It felt annoying but manageable. Over time, I realized something. This organization has a cost. It's not just financial. The first cost shows up just as mental energy. Every time you search for a file, every time you redo work you already did, every time you forgot where something lives, you're paying with cognitive load. And your brain is meant to create, decide, and lead, not play scavenger hunt. This organization steals focus before your work even begins. Then there's a cost to your momentum. When your systems are unclear, everything takes longer. Sending invoices, following up with clients, launching ideas. You hesitate not because you're incapable, but because the process just feels heavy. Momentum doesn't usually disappear all at once, it dies in friction. This organization also has a cost to trust. And this is the part that people don't normally talk about. Chaos leaks outward, missed emails, late responses, inconsistent follow through. Even when your work is excellent, mind you, people experience the disorder around it, however. And perception matters. Perception is reality. There's also a cost to growth. You can't scale what only exists in your head. If your business depends on memory, urgency, and last minute fixes, you're not really building a business, you're surviving one. Growth requires repeatable systems, even simple ones. What makes this tricky, though, is that disorganization in a business isn't just one thing. And that's where most people get stuck. They try to get organized without naming what kind of disorganization they're actually dealing with. So they fix the wrong things or burn out trying to fix everything at once. And as you just heard me mention, there are several types of disorganization. We'll go through that today in today's video. So one common type is structural disorganization. This is when your business technically works, but only because everything lives in your head. There are no clear workflows, tasks happen differently each time, you're constantly figuring out things as you go. The cost is decision fatigue. You become the bottleneck, delegation feels impossible because nothing is clearly defined. A great example of this is if you know that you are overworked and you need help, and the idea of trying to hire an assistant or a virtual assistant just seems so daunting to you, is probably because you don't have systems in place to turn it over or to delegate to someone. So that is a clear example when I'm working with people and working with business owners and entrepreneurs, that if that's the friction that we're having, it's probably because there's no policies or procedures in place. And so that's where we would first start. I would say the fix isn't fancy software or a massive overhaul, it's just clarity. Pick one core workflow: onboarding, invoicing, content publishing. Pick something to start with. Write it down exactly as it happens today. Mind you, not the ideal version, but the real one that you actually follow through with today. Often, one simple checklist is enough. Seriously, don't overcomplicate things. Another common type of disorganization is digital disorganization. You know the information exists, you just don't know where it lives on your computer. Files are scattered across your desktop. My desktop actually looks pretty good. Every week I do try and go in and clear out the screenshots because I do have a nice wallpaper on my screen. So at least I'm not guilty of that. But say your Google Drive or your iCloud, email, notes, files scattered all between these different places. Folder names made sense to the past you, not the present you. So when you save something in your cloud a few years ago and now you're trying to find it, and you're like, why would I, when you do find it, you're like, why would I name it this? Digital disorganization at its finest. The cost here is time and stress. Minutes lost searching, work duplicated, confidence slowly eroded because you begin to question yourself and even gaslight yourself into thinking like, maybe I didn't save that. Maybe I didn't do this project. And no, it's just disorganization, unfortunately. The fix is choosing one source of truth, limiting yourself to a small number of top level folders, naming things clearly for the future you. And instead of trying to organize everything at once, building a monthly reset habit so it never becomes overwhelming again is very beneficial. This is something that I did about 2 to 3 years ago. And mind you, this is months of work, but I'm pretty good about my iCloud storage and just my general Google Drive storage. I'm really good about that just because working as a digital creative, you need to have access to your files and know where things are. And they're typically organized by clients, so that really makes it easy. But when it came to like my personal things or even my personal business, like the business behind the business, I guess you would say, it was those things. Like I would have Google Notes, or not Google Notes, but Google Keep. I had Apple Notes. I do carry a notebook with me. So all my notes and ideas, business ideas were everywhere. And so trying to collect all that information to one place, that took me months to do. Cleaning out my photos on my phone. There are so many screenshots that I take when I'm on the internet and I'm like, "Ooh, I want to buy this, or this would be a great gift for a friend." Or I'll see something about like a business tip. I'm like, "Ooh, save that because I want to act on that." Organizing all that, it takes time, but literally if you just make a list to start off, make a list and figure out, okay, these are all the places I need to get digitally organized, and pick one that's maybe like low hanging fruit, depending on how you want to do it, and handle that. Or if it's something that you constantly deal with in your daily life, something that you touch every day, make that your first place to start, I would say. But take it month at a time because it does take time as you go through and start organizing, creating folders. It's just one of those things you have to do. So I would say this, moving on to the other type of disorganization, there is communication disorganization. That is where conversations are split across platforms. So you have text messages, email, Slack channels, Teams messages, carrier pigeons, whatever it is. You have all these different disparate conversations in different places, and decisions aren't documented. You find yourself repeating the same information over and over again. Over time, this also erodes trust and accountability, even if your work is solid. The fix isn't being more responsive, it's about containment, limiting yourself to one form of intake, one form of communication, or maybe two, depending on the client. For me, I really try and get everyone to email me just so that way I can have a record of something. Like, okay, I have a record of someone contacting me. And then text is far and few in between. I really don't like the texting when it comes to business just because I'm not normally checking my phone like that during the day. So email is really where I try to funnel people to so I can keep all my conversations within there. But it's up to you with your business. Again, you may have your email, but then you may have a Slack channel. Figure out what the terms of use are for those things for your business and what fits for your use, and for if you have people working for you, what works for them as well. Um, so I would say decide where different types of communication live, summarize decisions in writing, create simple templates so that way nothing important relies on a memory alone. That can easily be done over a weekend of just going through and identifying what are some of those touch points or communication pieces that you can just have as evergreen. Save it in your email as a quick note where you can just copy and paste it, and it's almost like a canned email. I would strongly, strongly recommend that. Another big one is time and priority disorganization. Everything feels urgent. Everything should have been done 2 weeks ago. Your to-do list is long, but it's flat. You work all day and you still feel behind. Totally understand that. I was there at one point. This kind of organization leads directly to burnout because there's no hierarchy, no protected focus, and there's no sense of progress. You don't feel like you're moving towards anything. So then you just feel just defeated and tired. And the fix for this is constraint. Limit daily priorities to 1 to 3 outcomes. Things that really truly matter that will move the needle forward in your business. I'm not talking about, oh, I need to send this email to a client. That's something that's pretty, sit down and do that. It might take 5 to 10 minutes depending on the email. Separate what's urgent from what's important. Design your schedule around energy, not just tasks. I when I can, when I can control my schedule, um, I do like to try and make my ideal schedule. If I could truly control my schedule, 100%, I would leave my Mondays and Fridays to no meetings. Mondays is for me to catch up on work or things or items that I couldn't finish in the prior week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are meetings, client calls, whatever they may be. And then Friday is my day to catch up on those meetings that I had, do any type of task related to those meetings, and ideally, hopefully, plan out my next week. That is based on my energy. Typically, anything that's really intensive for me to review, that's going to be really detail oriented, I try and schedule that typically in the afternoons, but I realize now I can kind of flip flop either before lunch or after lunch. But anytime I'm feeling that I don't want to do detailed work and I feel like more of the creative, airy, whimsical side of my brain, then I leave that time for creative work. So it's just a matter of getting to know yourself and know your rhythms and how you work best. I also love Friday for professional development time. I'm still working, but I'm diving into topics that relate to the 9 to 5 or business or both of them. And it's just really I don't like to stay stagnant. I want to keep learning, but it's a matter of, again, figuring out what the priorities are and trying to work within them. So that way you have constraint and you can feel the progress moving forward in your business. Because, you don't need more hours. You just need clearer priorities. Seriously, that is it. There's also, talking about another disorganization type, is financial, which often hides behind avoidance. So I don't have this issue, but I do know of other entrepreneurs that I talk with, and they do have this, where invoices go out late, numbers feel confusing or intimidating, you're not sure what's coming in versus what's going out. This has a real monetary cost. This is the one that actually costs money, but it also just creates anxiety that bleeds into everything else. Um, the fix is visibility, not perfection. Talk to an accountant, but some easy low-hanging fruit would be just having one business account, one system to track money, a short weekly check-in so finances don't become something you only look at when there's a problem. For me, I use Monarch Money for both not only my personal, but also for my business finances as well, to kind of just keep track of, okay, personally, this is what I have going on, business-wise, here's what I have going on. I have all my expenses lined up. It ties into my invoicing system, Wave apps. And I used to be, like, a few years ago, before I worked with a finance coach, I used to be terrified to look at my business finances because I just didn't know where things were going. But after getting into a system, getting everything lined up, again, this is something that took me months to do. But once you get it set up and you consistently use it, like on Sundays is usually my money date, where I will sit down, like, okay, what are we doing for Sunday? Or on Sunday, sit down in Monarch Money, look at everything, making sure, reconciling things, making sure I haven't been scammed out of money, or if I didn't cancel a subscription. So I would recommend having a money date with yourself every week. Sit down with your finances, go into your bank account, figure out what things are doing, what you need to cancel, what you need to adjust. And don't be afraid of money, because money is a great resource, but you want to make sure that it's working for you. And the only way it can work for you is if you know what it's doing and what's happening. So be sure to just check in with yourself with that. All right, so then another subtle but powerful type of decision or disorganization is decision disorganization. And all that is constantly changing your mind, starting things and not finishing them, over consuming advice, reopening decisions you already made. The cost of this is momentum and confidence. The fix for this is commitment. Define a small set of decision filters, time, money, alignment, for example. Write down why you chose something. Stop revisiting decisions unless the conditions have actually changed. Once you make a decision, roll with it. It's just a matter of, you will never know you will never know 100% of the things that can contribute to your decision. You're only going to have maybe 60 to 70% of the information at any given time. The other 30 to 40%, you'll probably have to learn in motion, and you may have to pivot, but your initial decision probably shouldn't change because there's no more information you're going to glean to help you confirm or change your decision. So stick with your commitment, do all the research you can, but then eventually you have to make a decision and be firm and trust yourself. I think that also goes back to trusting yourself and understanding that you are competent, you know what you're doing, you are in the space for a reason, and just trust yourself in your decision making. All right, and then let's see. The last disorganization type there is role disorganization. And this is especially common in solo businesses and small teams. You're doing everything as like the founder, creator, owner. There's no clarity around ownership. So everything just defaults to you. The cost of that is exhaustion and stalled growth. You have to learn how to delegate. You have to learn how to trust your people. If you're working with people, if you're not a solopreneur. The fix is identifying what only you can do and treating everything else as a candidate for delegation or automation. Seriously, there are things that you're probably doing on a daily basis that does not require you. You could delegate that to someone else and they can make the same decision that you can, but at least you are free to do other things that only literally you can do as founder, owner, creator, whatever your role is within your business. Just when you're doing everything, there's no clarity around the ownership. And again, the fix is just, I would say even small amounts of role clarity make a big difference. So if there are things, if you list out the things that you're currently doing right now, figure out, okay, in my business, there's no one else in my team who can do these things. Those are your specific roles. Everything else, pass that off to someone else. Pass it off to someone else. Even smaller amounts of role, oh, excuse me, even small amounts of role clarity make a big difference. And the most important thing to understand with this is that disorganization is not a character flaw, it's just a systems gap. All of this that I've been talking about, the different types of disorganization, it really boils down to systems. And having a good system will prevent a lot of these different things. And the goal isn't to be perfectly organized because systems, they do change. As you're growing your business, what systems that you built on the onset of your business will probably change again as you're growing. And that's a great problem to have. If you have more clients coming in, maybe those canned emails that you created when you first started, they need to be updated and adjusted because your workflow has changed because you have such an influx of customers. That's a great problem to have. The goal is, again, with any of this stuff is to reduce the friction, protect your energy, and make progress so much easier. When the right things are easier to do, the business stops feeling heavy. You don't need more motivation. You don't need to work harder. You're doing enough. You truly are. You need fewer loose ends because this organization doesn't just cost time, it costs you your peace, your confidence, and it costs momentum. And the most expensive thing in business is building with unnecessary friction. So that is all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you, what things you would add, what has been your experience. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. My name is Moni, and I am making videos for entrepreneurs, nonprofit founders, 9-to-5 workers, about any and everything in between. And also just videos for those people who are looking to redesign a life in their own image that meets their aspirations. So if you like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe. I make videos like these every single day. I am really seriously considering changing this to late nights with Moni because I just cannot, for whatever reason, upload any earlier than 8 p.m. But with that being said, I upload again every single day. And with that being said, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.